Mhm.
Acha.
All right. Well, so let's say hello to our viewers here, and welcome to our first collaboration, Abir. It's very great to see you tonight. Well then, so perhaps first of all, we can start our meeting by having an introduction, like a short introduction, perhaps. So, would you mind introduce yourself briefly?
Thanks, Sakaf. Thanks for giving me this floor and working with you in this collaboration project. I am Mirza
Mm-hmm.
Abir. I am a content
Mm-hmm.
creator from Bangladesh and I work with English Lab 365. So I'm the CEO here
Mm-hmm.
and it's nice working with you. I started my journey
Uh,
on YouTube last year, but
okay.
unfortunately, yeah,
Uh huh. So, well,
okay,
unfortunately, go on.
yeah, unfortunately it's echoing.
I see. So, when did you start it again? I mean, when
Okay,
did
could you
you?
repeat?
Okay. When did you start running on your YouTube channel again? After you postponed it for several times.
I started my journey on YouTube on the first week of August last year.
All right then. What makes you start it again?
Because I got spare time during the pandemic. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that I had to do something beneficial and constructive for myself and my career because I could just own my video editing skills
Mm-hmm. I
and my
see.
presentation skills as well.
All right then. So well, um, are you the student of university right now?
Yes, I'm currently an undergrad student at university
Mm-hmm.
studying
Great
English
then.
language at Dhaka University.
All right. Well, so maybe now we can jump to talk about a short review of the way how we learned English before. Would you mind telling us how did you start learning about English and what makes you fall in love with English?
Well, I started learning English, practically in 2013. So
Mm-hmm.
in that year, I was like immersed in depression and loneliness
Mm-hmm.
because I lost my friends at that time. I didn't have any batchmates. So in order to deal with my loneliness and depression,
Mm-hmm.
I started talking to lots of random people around the world in
I
2013.
see.
So at that time, I explored my ability in speaking
Mm-hmm.
English because I was like a teenager at that time. And when I started learning and just trying it wholeheartedly, so
Mm-hmm.
lots of foreigners they started praising. And at that
I.
age, like a lot of people, they asked me to run a YouTube channel at that
Uh
time,
huh.
but I didn't have the resources or a helping hand at that time,
Mm-hmm.
so I couldn't start my journey back then.
I
And
see.
you know, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
English is an international language, and it is the
Exactly.
most spoken language around the world, including
Yep.
its native and non-native speakers. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a gripping interest in meeting, like, and talking to new people, knowing their
Mm-hmm.
cultures and English. That gave me the opportunity to converse with people.
I see. All right. It's great then, and it's very exciting for me to have such kind of a special talk tonight with you. So, well, you said that you started learning English around 2013, and well, I was starting learning English around 2008, but then it was not so serious, and also started to learn about it seriously around 2012, 2013. So, you have spent a lot around like 11 or 12 years for it? No,
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 no, I
wait.
said I started my journey in 2013. You
Oh,
meant about
2013.
seriously. That means 8 years.
Okay. All right
Uh,
then.
yeah, yeah.
So, well,
But I
you
was
said.
in my prime in like those 3 years, like in those
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 years, like you can say from 2013 to 16,
Mm-hmm.
because I had a passion for this language at that time, like more
I
than
see.
usual.
Oh, right. That's quite nice and interesting. Um, how did you start talking to foreigners? I mean, when did you meet the foreigners for the first time? Is it like directly meeting, like a live meeting with them, or do you meet them by media like Facebook or another social media?
Yeah, I used to talk to them by some social medias. And the
Mm-hmm.
first guy I talked to, he was a Canadian. I still
Mm-hmm.
talk to him. It was back to 2013. And he
Oh,
still
that's nice.
helps me in my channel. And you can find a video of him
Mm-hmm.
at my channel as well.
Oh, that's gonna be great then. I'm gonna look at that. Okay.
Okay.
So what else that you do to learn about English, and how was the way of you to master the English itself?
Uh, it happened like unconsciously. Like during my
Mm-hmm.
childhood, like I acquired the language the same as
Mm-hmm.
way a person acquires a native language. So I used to listen a lot,
Mm-hmm.
watching like movies or like anime TV
Mm-hmm.
series. So this thing helped a lot unconsciously in my learning language. And there is a method in second language teaching that is called total physical response. Like what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, so that is portrayed in your action. Like I am drinking right now, so those things I learned unconsciously since my childhood.
Uh-huh. Ah, I see. All right. Would you like to share another
Okay.
tips? Maybe what was the movie that you used to learn about English? What's your favorite and why did you choose it?
I used to watch different shows while learning English, and for both for
Mm-hmm.
entertainment and learning. For example,
Mm-hmm.
currently I watch like One Piece and Demon Slayer
Mm-hmm.
and some other animes as well. So I try
Ah,
to, when I
okay.
heard something unfamiliar, so I try
Mm-hmm.
to write the word on my
Mm-hmm.
diary or in a paper, and I try to just rehearse the words later and make it as part of my active vocabulary.
Ah, okay. All right then. So, talking about the movie, did you get any difficulty in understanding about the languages inside the movie at the first time you watch it? Did you use any kind of subtitle maybe, or you prefer to use the English subtitle? Pardon me, it's mute.
Yeah, yeah, except,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, except watching Hollywood movies, I don't use subtitle that often, but I mostly often watch like anime. So while watching anime, so this is like an era of internet,
Uh-huh.
I try to rewind like what he said, the phrase or the word, and then I try
Mm-hmm.
to just search the word. So that gives the trick. Actually.
I see. Did you also read some books or novels maybe?
Currently, apart from my academic studies, I
Mm-hmm.
am not reading any novels or dramas in English
Okay.
because there was a time when I was
Mm-hmm.
a bookworm, but recently, or since the advent of social networks, like I started just become
Mm-hmm.
quite apart from my books.
Okay, I see then. Well, I also actually started to learning English like you. Not totally from the movie from the first time, but first of all, I had a very handsome teacher that time. So,
Okay.
um, normally like girls in junior high school, they want to attract the handsome teachers, and my friends are all doing the same. And I was like, oh my god, I have to master English to gain his attention on me, and he has to be proud of me at that time. But after that, I was thinking about how was the great way to do so, because I don't have any friends to talk every day. So yeah, I did the same things like you. I watch movies, especially for Harry Potter, because I'm a big fan of Harry Potter that day. But it was quite sad because they speak in British and I prefer in American English due to the words, not the accent, but the words, because um, I don't know a lot about the British words at the time. So I started to use the subtitle in Indonesia. But after that, for the second and third times, I started to use the English one. And I what is it? Try to also make notes of some few words that I don't know the meaning and so on. And I finally started learning from the English village. So here we have Kampung Inggris, or we call it English village. It's a village full of like hundreds English courses. So
Wow.
perhaps if you come here, I will invite you to go there because now I'm also working there.
Okay,
And
sounds interesting.
I found lots of good vibes there. Not the foreigners for the first time, but I found a lot of friends who also love English, and we learn together there. We practice English every day, and I got my perfect circle. Finally, around the third year of senior high school, I went to Bali for the first time, and I challenged myself to talk to foreigners. It was so nervous for me for the first time. So, how was your first time talking to foreigners? Did you feel some this kind of nervous feeling?
When I was in school, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
dare to talk to so many foreigners, but when I
Uh
was in
huh.
college and started taking English seriously, so when
Mm-hmm.
I did got an opportunity to talk to any foreigner, I didn't miss that chance. So it was for the first time, I felt a little
Mm-hmm.
bit nervous, but
Mm-hmm.
since then I feel quite comfortable dealing with them because it gives a
All
really
right.
splendid experience. And talking to a native speaker, it is like the experience is totally unparalleled. Talking like
Mm-hmm.
if you compare talking to any non-native speakers in this case.
Exactly. So, well, how did you feel after talking to a native speaker for the first time in real life? Um, is it like boosting your spirit to gain more speakers? I mean, the native speakers to talk with, or did you feel like insecure about your ability, or what did you think about it?
It is a great way to boost my confidence, and as I said
Mm-hmm.
before, like at first I felt a little bit nervous. So
Mm-hmm.
later on, like as I said, English is a
Mm-hmm.
great way to make friends and to
Yeah,
break the cultural barriers in the world.
exactly.
Mhm.
All right. So, well, um, when you started speaking by using English, did you think about the grammatical error? Because lots of my students, my friends, my subscribers, my followers, and others always ask me how to speak with a good grammar focus, how to get the grammar knowledge without thinking when you speak up, and so on and blah blah blah. What did you feel that time?
Well, it is obvious for the beginner to face
Mm-hmm.
challenge while speaking English for the first time. Well,
Mm-hmm.
if you know the tenses, you can speak up to 80% of the English that is required
Mm-hmm.
to convey your meaning. Okay? So people like become a little bit like anxious while
Mm-hmm.
speaking for the first time on their few
Yeah.
weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they're obsessed with their mistakes because the teacher they were taught in the grammar translation approach in the classroom like most non-native countries. So that
Mm-hmm.
was the problem, like the teachers were really obsessed with the mistakes or the grammars.
Mm-hmm.
So while speaking English they encountered the same problem, but the fact is like start
Mm-hmm.
slowly, and when you think like you are doing pretty well, so then just boost the speed. So that
I
gives the trick.
see.
And it is obvious to make mistakes while speaking English because no
Mm-hmm.
speaker is perfect.
Exactly. So well,
The main thing
um,
is to accept
yeah.
this thing that you will make mistakes. And
Mm-hmm.
another way to improve this thing is like to record yourself. Okay, so at that time that individual will try to
Mm-hmm.
know his mistakes more accurately.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay. So it's like we record ourselves, and after that we can watch the recording again, and then we can do such kind of mirroring. We learn from it, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
see. Mm-hmm. So well, like the comment here, how to speak English without worrying if my grammar is correct or not. So well, Abdullah Buyan, maybe the way of Abir solve the problem could be one tips for you. So well, what other things that you do to master the grammar in English?
Mm, sorry, could you say?
Okay, so What other ways did you do to master the grammatical knowledges in speaking English? Did you join some courses, or did you like learn from some few books or anything, or watch some videos?
No, to just correct myself, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I just gave my recordings of my
Mm-hmm.
speaking to some IELTS learners. I mean, to an IELTS
Hmm. Okay.
instructor. So he used to make my mistakes, like back at that time when I was a
Mm-hmm.
teenager in 2013. So and it was a pleasure. He was my mentor and idol.
Mm-hmm.
And the pleasure was that, like, one day he told me that now you have surpassed me in the speaking.
I see. All right then. So well, coming up to the next questions from our followers. How to talk to a foreigners nicely without thinking? Maybe
Okay,
it's about the habit. Do you think so?
about thinking. So it is obvious to introduce yourself first to the foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
And if he is located around the capital or in your city,
Mm-hmm.
he may try to get seek some help from you. So
Mm.
try to just help him and ask him what he is wanting here.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a great way to interact with the foreigner.
Okay, so we use
And
something in common. Uh-huh.
introducing yourself is the first priority in this case.
Okay, would you like to give some tips like how to introduce ourselves to a forest properly? Can we directly do like, hi mom, excuse me, I'm Eka and blah blah blah, or do you have a special way for it?
Mm, it is like the generalized way. And like if you ask me about a native speaker or a foreigner, so they won't like
Mm-hmm.
those formal introductions that what we will be dealing in the interviews. So we can just casually just go to them and say like,
Mm-hmm.
I am like Aka or I'm Abir. I'm
Mm-hmm.
studying here. So may I be just able to help you? Or
Mm-hmm.
can I be beneficial to help you in this case like that?
Ah, okay then. So we offer some helps. We offer the kindness for them to get
Yeah,
their attention and interact with them.
yes.
I see. Okay then. So well, next. Sometimes if we talk to foreigners, it's hard for them to understand what we are saying because our pronunciation is quite broken. So how to master a pronunciation according to an Abir?
Okay. It is, as I said before, it is the army method, like
Mm-hmm.
to repeat yourself. Okay. Listen
Mm-hmm.
a word and repeat
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And you may encounter some words may be challenging. So in this
Mm-hmm.
case, you have to break the words and
Mm-hmm.
repeat. So that will be the optimum way to gain confidence in mastering pronunciation.
I see. All right then.
And
Do we
repeat
need
and
this?
practice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Repeat and
Oh.
practice and record
Mm-hmm.
yourself and give it to your friend for a feedback.
Okay. So it means like you never got a special teacher for learning English or maybe to train your pronunciation as well, but you do it by yourself, having the struggles and efforts with yourself and compare it to your friends to have the feedbacks.
Yes,
Is it? All
yes.
right. That's great. I've never been able to do it. I need a teacher to talk. Because
Okay.
I'm not really sure with my own ability before. Okay then.
Mhm.
So well, next, after learning about the pronunciation, absolutely that it relates to an accent, whether we choose the pronunciation of an American or a British. Do you think that it will be a matter if we talk by using American or British, or in other words, is accent important in your point of view?
English is like an international language, and
Mm-hmm.
like conveying your meaning is more important than mastering a
Uh-huh.
certain accent.
Mm.
So people may have preference learning British or the American or the Canadian or like the
Mm-hmm.
native other English accents. But the thing
Mm.
is, it is how you gonna convey your meaning in English. So that is the most significant thing in speaking English.
All
So
right.
many people may have these preferences, and the problem with a non-native speaking person is this, like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they just struggle with their accent, and they may end up mixing two accents together, or they may speak English in a strong accent, and that may be considered as a fake accent or a flaunting thing to some non-native speakers, or he may not sound natural. So that is the point.
Okay, then. So it means like pronunciation doesn't mean that it will lead us into the real accent of British or American or Canadian or even Australian as well. It helped us to talk English clearly and obviously, but not about the accent itself. So the most important is we master pronunciation, we know the right words order, so somebody who talked to us could understand about it. Is that so?
Yes.
All right. So, well, wait, I'm quite curious. What do you think about people who judge someone who talks by using broken English? Like, for instance, I'm from Indonesia, and there are some islands in Indonesia which has a
Okay.
very strong accent from their own language. Like in Java, people use Javanese language, and sometimes we talk English like, oh, okay, no problem, and so on.
Mhm.
So it's quite funny, perhaps, for some people who hasn't known about that accent before. But do you think that it is okay to say it so? I mean, by using their own character in speaking, at least they can speak English clearly. And what do you think about people who judge them? That they say that those who speaks by using their own accent, like Japanese accent or maybe Chinese or Koreans or others, are people who couldn't speak English well. What do you think about it?
Well, some people, or many people, like consider it as a major problem, and especially
Mm-hmm.
you specify some regions like Japan
Mm-hmm.
or China. And I personally talked to a lot of people from them, including
Mm-hmm.
your country. So, and I also found some splendid speakers from
Mm-hmm.
these regions, and
Mm-hmm.
they overcame this thing by just honing on their skills and knowing
Mm-hmm.
their weakness. Okay, so
Yeah.
as I said before, it is conveying a meaning, and there were some people from Vietnam I talked to you, and
Mm-hmm.
it was quite challenging to understand them. So, yeah, but later on, I found the same guy after a few
Mm-hmm.
months, but he worked on his weakness. So
Uh-huh.
that he did the trick. Okay.
Okay then. So well, still talking about the grammar, pronunciation, and the master of how to be fluent in English. Here there is a question from our viewers. How can I improve my speaking English? Sorry, my speaking skill daily. So how to practice English daily? Is it only by a movie, recording our voice, or you have another tricks for it?
Well, speaking English will like depend on your both skills,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your listening
Yep.
and speaking. So listening
Mm-hmm.
will be the input, and speaking will be the output of your
Mm-hmm.
like endeavor. So the fact is, you can watch a TV series or
Mm-hmm.
a series based on your preference, and
Mm-hmm.
when you are listening to those things, you are
Mm-hmm.
learning phrases, you are watching their interactions. So that is correcting your accent and pronunciation. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the best way to do this thing to practice speaking is to at least practice 5 or 10 minutes each day. You
Mm-hmm.
can record yourself,
See.
or your friend may help you, or you can find a partner who has a
Mm-hmm.
level similar to you. Okay,
Mm-hmm. I see.
because
All
if
right.
you are an upper intermediate or advanced level speaker, you may
Mm-hmm.
talk to a beginner, so that won't help you. You need a person who is on the same level as you.
Uh-huh. I see. All right. So, well, you made me remember the way I learned English before
Okay.
because I don't have any friends at home, right? So, to improve the vocabulary, I started writing one vocabulary for each of the things in my house, and I stick it on the things. Like I write door, and then I stick it on the door, and after that I write window. I also stick it on window. After it, below the first word, I wrote some of the sentences some of the expressions that I can see every day whenever I pass that place. So even though I don't mean to memorize it, but I finally could handle it well. Like, open the door, please, close the door, please, and then open the window, close the window, and then clean the window. It's dirty, it's dusty, and others. So I finally could also improve to memorize some expressions, and I can use it daily.
Okay. Did
Mm-hmm.
ever newspaper help you to learn English?
Yep, exactly. I use the paper. Um, for around a year, I guess. So before my father painted my house with a new paint, I stick lots of paper on the walls. So whenever I come to every corner of my house, I can see it. I can see the expressions. I can memorize it. So I wrote some expressions from the movie, from what my friends talk in the English village when I got a course, from my teachers sometimes if I'm at school and others, and it quite helped me. I also put some of like sticky notes on my book, and I'm still doing it up to now. I still have the sticky
Okay.
notes.
Okay, that helps really. I
Uh-huh.
never tried it though, but it is an effective
Really?
way. Yeah.
I see. Okay then. So yeah, we have the different way of learning, but finally we could get the best result, I guess. All right. So well, here there is someone who asked again. What about speaking using idiom?
Idiom.
Mm-hmm.
So native speakers basically they use
Mm-hmm.
idioms more often than in spoken English, and it
Oh,
gives
really?
you a natural vibe. You see,
Mm.
and you may sound natural, and you may just
Mm-hmm.
consider it as a native speaker if you use
Uh-huh.
idioms quite often. And I personally like it a lot. Okay.
All right. So, what are the common idioms that you usually use in your daily speaking?
For some meddling people, I said
Mm-hmm.
your backseat driver.
Okay.
Okay.
Could you tell the meaning?
Okay, backseat driver means a person who gives unwanted advice during an action. Like they
Oh.
are not expert in this thing, but
Mm-hmm.
they will give you unsolicited advice in this case.
Mm. All right. What else? Another idioms.
Mm, through thick and thin. Okay,
Okay. And
okay.
what's that
It,
mean?
it means going in like good and bad times. Like a good
Mm-hmm.
friend, he will remain with you through thick and thin. Okay.
Ah, I see. All right then. So yeah, I also use some idioms when I teach my students usually, but it's only the basic one because I'm teaching my students, which most of them are sometimes beginner. So I use like, well, it's just a piece of cake,
Oh, okay.
right? When I have some questions for them and they could answer it. So I try to, what is it, make it as their habit to use the idiom like, well, it's just a piece of cake, right? Or sometimes, okay, do you think that it's as easy as ABC? So the easy idiom first to make them used to it.
Okay. So have you ever used the break the ice to your students?
Break the ice. um, Sometimes, but not so often. Like, I give some games sometimes, or I give some listening sections or videos during teaching so they will not feel bored because it's an online class. So it's gonna be some nice way to break the ice between them.
I
Okay.
bet you're using your like teaching approaches quite effectively in your classroom.
I hope so. So well, here there is another question. How to reduce stammering when I'm not with my friends? It happens when I confront a group of people who are not my comfort zone. Well, do you have some tips for it?
It basically it happens when a person
Mm-hmm.
encounters public speaking for the first or
Mm-hmm.
the second time, or in the class presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So they encounters the same problem. So it basically, if they just face their fear and just encounter it,
Mm-hmm.
mustering their courage for the first or one or two time, as I said
Uh-huh.
before, like talking
Mm-hmm.
to a foreigner, so it also makes someone nervous. So if he also deals with this thing, so he can
Mm-hmm.
overcome the same problem. No doubt.
I see. Okay then. Have you ever got this case before? Like maybe when you gather with some friends or community.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In classroom presentations, I encountered this
Mm-hmm.
problem.
I see. All right then. So well, now we come to the next question of our list. What do you think about someone? Oh no, it's I have asked you about it. So yeah, it's back to the someone who speak the broken English last time, and how to improve our speaking skill daily. Maybe that's gonna be the last tips for tonight. When you really don't know about English before, like you are the real beginner from the first place, you don't know any other words, any single words. So how to start it?
There was a breakup noise from your side. So could you repeat it, please?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So well, for the real beginner, like the real basic beginner, they don't know any single words of English, but they want to learn about it. Do you have some tips how to start learning English and be more, what is it, exciting towards learning? Because sometimes people give up in the middle of
They
learning
don't
English
know a
because
single word
they
in
don't have.
English.
Yeah, like
You mean?
maybe they only know like I, you, how are you, I love you, just simple things like that, but they don't know more about it, and they couldn't
Okay.
understand when there is someone speak using English.
Okay. First of all, they need to acquire basic vocabularies.
Mm-hmm.
Like 750 to 1,000 vocabularies will be enough for him.
Mm-hmm.
And learn the basic like English structures or tenses.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if he wants to just portray a present meaning or a present situation,
Uh-huh.
he can be taught the present tense, and then a picture can be shown before him and
Mm-hmm.
ask him to just describe like what is in the
Mm-hmm.
picture using the present tense. So that will be a great way to start for
Okay, so what about someone who has been in the intermediate level, but they want to grow more?
him. For the intermediate level. So I suggest them find a partner and of the
Mm-hmm.
same level and make some
Mm-hmm.
goals. Make some goals on learning English, and
Mm-hmm.
that will do the trick. Like practicing with a specific partner for like
Mm-hmm.
15 to 20 minutes each day and
Mm-hmm.
review what he has learned throughout the week.
I
So that
see.
will
All
do
right.
the trick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe they can also practice together with you in your Instagram or maybe in your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
Okay, then. So, well, guys, if you also want to speak English with Abir or you want to get more knowledges or lessons from Abir, you can also subscribe his YouTube channel. It's English Lab 365. Also, you can follow his Instagram, English Lab 365 too, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly that. All right, Abir. It seems like a very nice talking with you. Thank you so
Okay.
much for sharing about English with us here. Thank you so much for giving the tips and tricks in how to handle our problems in speaking English daily. It was quite nice and quite benefit for us. Thank you.
Yeah, it was an honor to talk to you, Eka, and I hope to
Mm-hmm.
you talking to you soon. And I love your
Yeah.
audiences, their questions. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was an enjoying experience for me. Okay.
All right, that's great then. It's glad to hear that. And I guess that we can have another collaboration later on in your YouTube channel, right? So, guys, if you want
Future.
to join us again, come back to our next collaboration in English Lab 365. I will meet Abir again and we're going to talk another topic of English, right? Okay, thank you so much. Bye, Abir. See you in the next collaboration. And thanks everyone who has come. Hopefully, it's going to be very useful for you guys. All right, good night, everyone.